Good Friday morning, and thank you for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Jason Hackett. Let's get to your headlines. Breaking news this morning, an arrest for that targeted attack in South Minneapolis that has now led to the deaths of 4 people. We just learned these new details overnight from the shooting that happened on Tuesday in the Midtown Phillips neighborhood. Michelle Beck is at the Minneapolis Police headquarters this morning with more.
Well, Minneapolis police made headway with that arrest, but they also shared the grim update just minutes after midnight that a 4th person has now died after being shot. Remember, the Tuesday night shooting on East 25th Street already claimed the lives of 3 people. Now this 4th victim, police say, was a 28-year-old man who did not make it out of the hospital. I just checked the Hennepin County Jail roster. That's where the suspected shooter, James Ortley, is now, waiting to appear in court this afternoon at 1:30. Police say the 34-year-old was arrested yesterday for his role in the city's most violent incident this year.
While this arrest marks a major breakthrough, our work is far from over. We continue to seek information and assistance from the public regarding this fatal shooting and 2 additional homicides that occurred later on April 30th. We believe that other individuals may be involved.
And late Tuesday night, we know a 2nd person, a woman, was also taken to the hospital. But from police's latest update from overnight, it's not exactly clear how she's doing this morning. Back to you.
Well, developing right now, a federal judge has rejected the Trump administration's invocation of the Alien Enemies Act. The ruling found the 1798 law cannot be applied to Venezuelans alleged to be part of the gang Tren de Aragua. Now, the Trump-appointed judge's opinion does not question the executive branch's authority to directly deport aliens who engage in criminal activity, but it did find that Trump's usage of the Alien Enemies Act, which is meant to apply to an invading army, quote, exceeds the scope of the statute. Until Trump invoked it this year, the Alien Enemies Act was only invoked during the War of 1812, World War I, and World War II. Look at the markets here this morning as Wall Street reacts to a new jobs report and prepares for more tariffs to take effect this weekend. The latest job report shows that the U.S. added 177,000 jobs in April. That gain stronger than most economists predicted and stronger than the average monthly job growth in the 3 months prior. Meantime, unemployment remained unchanged at 4.2%. Now, that new report helping with uncertainty swirling in the economy as more of President Trump's tariffs are set to take effect this weekend. NBC's Bianca Ficini has details from Washington.
Hey, good morning. All eyes are on today's jobs report and what it might say about where the economy stands, especially after some disappointing data that came out earlier this week.
We have prom.
Business leaders from across the country sounding the alarm over President Trump's tariffs.
Everything that is imported from another country, adding anywhere from 10 to 20% on every one of our invoices.
Tariffs are just... In a letter to the administration, Suzanne Clark, CEO of the Chamber of Commerce, warns many small businesses will suffer irreparable harm if exclusions aren't made for them. Though it's not just small businesses that are feeling the heat.
The demand is way down. Now, a lot of that is, I think, the consumer reaction to the tariffs.
Meanwhile, the monthly jobs report showed unemployment holding steady at over 4% as job growth slowed, dropping down to 177,000 in April from 228,000 the previous month. The numbers come on the heels of a new executive order from the president, pulling funding for PBS and NPR as his administration looks to trim the government workforce. While the panic spreads as more tariffs are set to go into effect Saturday, the message from the president is still optimistic. In an address Thursday night, he told college graduates at the University of Alabama that the tariffs are working as intended.
It's making us very rich, and you'll be seeing the results pretty soon.
However, members of his own party acknowledge the ripple effects the tariffs are having on the economy, like stocks initially taking a tumble earlier this week after data revealed the economy contracted in the first quarter of the year.
Some of this is clearly a reaction to the uncertainty on taxes and trade.
Meanwhile, Trump blamed what he called the Biden overhang for the market reaction, though Wall Street did eventually recover those losses.
Now, in the meantime, the Trump administration is asking business leaders and consumers to be patient, while at the same time dealing with some troubling poll numbers over the handling of the economy so far. Back to you.
Well, developing this morning, fans around the world are remembering singer-songwriter Jill Sobule, who died in a Woodbury house fire early yesterday morning. She's best known for this 1995 song, I Kissed a Girl, the first with openly gay themes to hit the Billboard Top 20. Her PR team confirmed in just the last 9 hours she was the victim in yesterday's fire on Pinehurst Road. The New York Times reports she was staying with friends rehearsing for her one-woman musical. She was scheduled to perform those songs today in her hometown of Denver, but instead the venue says it will be holding a free gathering tonight to remember the singer. The Minnesota House taking another step to stiffen DWI laws in response to the deadly crash at Park Tavern in St. Louis Park last September. Danny Spiewak has more on where the proposal stands and why advocates are pushing so hard.
This week marks 8 months since the crash on Park Tavern's patio that killed server Christina Folkerts and Methodist Hospital employee Gabe Harvey over Labor Day weekend. The driver, 56-year-old Stephen Bailey, had 5 prior DWI convictions in Minnesota.
Every time I think about that day, I am in mourning.
On Thursday, St. Louis Park Mayor Nadia Muhammad joined Methodist colleagues and other advocates in House chambers in support of a House bill to enhance the state's DWI laws.
We're here so that what happened in St. Louis Park never happens again in our state.
The bill, sponsored by DFL Representative Larry Kraft, increases the length of time that repeat DWI offenders have to use ignition interlock devices to start their cars.
The person that committed this horrific act had 5 prior DWI offenses. And so my question was, why was he still driving?
Kraft spoke in support of his bill on the House floor.
This proposed legislation ramps the time repeat offenders are required to be on interlock much more aggressively and increases the look-back period from 10 to 20 years in certain situations.
With support from Republicans like Representative Jeff Whitty.
This bill prioritizes the safety of Minnesotans by keeping repeat drunk drivers off the road.
The bill passed nearly unanimously, to the delight of Methodist employees and Mayor Muhammad.
It makes it harder for people who are drunk driving to be able to drive a vehicle.
Now the bill must pass the Senate before the governor can sign it into law.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll be there.
The Senate is expected to take up this bill next week, and it also has strong bipartisan support in that chamber. Meanwhile, the suspect in this case, Stephen Bailey, will go on trial starting May 12th. At the state capitol, I'm Danny Spiewak, KARE 11 News.
We have new details this morning on the proposed changes coming to Xcel Energy Center. The Minnesota Wild and the city of St. Paul announced that they've scaled back their requests for funding from the state. The initial ask here was $400 million to renovate the X, River Center and Roy Wilkins Arena. Now they're focusing on just the upgrades for the X at $50 million. Wild owner Craig Leopold says the smaller price tag gives them the better chance to secure the funding before the end of the legislative session.
We recognize this is a tough year. We also recognize the next couple of years are going to be tough as well. So we are reacting to the realities of our world today.
The Roy Wilkins Auditorium and River Center projects would be on hold for at least another year or two. New this morning, the chimney that will signal to the world that a new pope has been picked is ready. This morning, Vatican workers hoisted the chimney on top of the roof of the Sistine Chapel. It'll be used in burning the ballots for the conclave that will elect a successor to Pope Francis. The secret meeting begins on May 7th, and cardinals will vote on who they think should lead the church and burn the ballots after every round of voting. So remember here, black smoke will signify no decision, while white smoke will announce that the 267th Pope has been elected. Pope Francis, who died on April 21st, had been Pope since 2013 and was the first pontiff from the Americas. Well, right now, Oklahoma just simply can't catch a break. More rain falling across the state right now after record rainfall left several areas flooded throughout Oklahoma in recent days. Over in Guthrie, residents are on high alert as the waters rise out there. On Thursday, Guthrie Public Schools posted on social media that due to current flooding conditions and the cresting of the Cottonwood Creek, they had to cancel school. The heavy rain also led to several road closures in the area. Over the last 5 days, Guthrie has seen over 4 inches of rainfall. Well, sad news for our Minnesota Wild right now. The Vegas Golden Knights eliminating them from the Stanley Cup playoffs last night. The team thanking fans on X this morning for all of the energy all season long. The Game 6 was a fight to the finish, but the final score here, 3-2. Make sure you stick with us. More news and weather coming up after the break.